was beautiful. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Floyd. Our scripture reading for today comes from 1 Samuel. It is chapter 8. It's verses 1 through 22. Israel demands a king. Before I read the scripture, I want to share just a bit of context. We are learning in this passage this morning that Samuel's time of being a judge over Israel is coming to an end. The scripture states that he is old. Estimates are that he was probably close to 60. Friends, we know that's not old. I'm going to be 58 next month. No, it's old. In any case, Samuel's time of rule is coming to an end, and he's named his sons to be the next judges, but they have strayed from the ways of righteousness. Again, we learn from the scripture that the sons have taken bribes and they have perverted justice. So the elders of Israel go to Samuel and they demand a king instead of a judge. Now, a judge would have been more like a military ruler or a legal arbitrator, similar to what we might know as a judge today. But a king's going to hold all the power. They think that's what they want, without knowing what it really means. But even if it does mean distancing themselves from God, that's what they're calling for. Sounds to me like bad decision making. But this is what's happening in today's scripture. Hear now the word of the Lord, and I invite all who are able to rise. When Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. The name of his firstborn son was Joel, and the name of his second was Abijah. They were judges in Beersheba. Yet his sons did not follow in his ways, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, "You are old, and your sons do not follow in your ways. Appoint for us then a king to govern over us like other nations." But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to govern us." Samuel prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said to Samuel, "Listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you. For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them. Just as they have done to me from the day I brought them up out of Egypt to this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so also they are doing to you. Now then, listen to their voice. Only you shall solemnly warn them and show them the ways of the king who shall reign over them." So Samuel reported all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "These will be the ways of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them to his chariots and to be his horsemen and to run before the chariots. And he will appoint for himself commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and some to plow his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his implements of war and the equipment of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive orchards and give them to his courtiers. He will take 1/10 of your grain and of your vineyards and give it to his officers and his courtiers. He will take your male and female slaves and the best of your cattle and donkeys and put them all to his work. He will take 1/10 of your flocks, and you shall be his slaves. And in that day you will cry out because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves. But the Lord will not answer you in that day." But the people refused to listen to the voice of Samuel. They said, "No, but we are determined to have a king over us, so that we may be like the other nations, and that our king may govern us. and go out before us and fight our battles." When Samuel had heard all the words of the people, he repeated them in the ears of the Lord. The Lord said to Samuel, "Listen to their voice and set a king over them." Samuel then said to the people of Israel, "Each of you return home." This ends the reading of the word of the Lord.